Thank you, colleagues, for joining me today. I'm here to talk about and demonstrate a program that we recently got a subscription for at our school. It's called WeVideo. Raise your hand if you've heard of WeVideo or used WeVideo. Good, a couple of you. It's very easy. If you haven't used it, believe me, it's very easy to learn. So I'm going to go through a little demonstration to show you some of the features of WeVideo. But I want to first talk about why WeVideo. Besides the fact that it's easy to use, we have a subscription for it. And if we don't use the subscription, then we lose the subscription. And this is a product that a lot of the teachers have started to use with the students. So maintaining some kind of consistency is actually a really great thing for all of us. Miss Hughes is our resident expert in WeVideo, so if you had any particular questions, she's probably the first person I would go to. Mr. Murray, he's used it, right? Mr. Murray, easy to use. Mr. Liberty's used it. Miss Agents has been using it, and she's been using the green screen function, which is something that I want to touch upon so briefly with you. But why in this particular time would I recommend using WeVideo? We're out of school. Okay, we don't have a way to really communicate with our students creatively. So WeVideo is an easy product for them to use for projects that we might want to assign for them. You know, since we're not able to be in the classroom with them, we still want to maintain some kind of contact. The project that I did was a very easy project. It was simply a day in my life, and I just walked around with my camera and took some video and took some pictures of my life. And I would encourage you to do something simple like that. This lesson can be obviously used in any particular discipline. Okay. So normally, of course, you would be in person to demonstrate this for your students, but because we are not in school, it's really important that you record yourself demonstrating this product to the students. You also have to be familiar with how to use it, because if you just show them a video from YouTube on how to use WeVideo, I guarantee you, as soon as they ask a question, you're not going to know how to answer that question for them. So you want to be able to be familiar with the product. So what we're going to be looking at today is the main video, the day in the life, okay, my video. And then I have a separate video that deals with the green screen portion of it. You know, heads up, you don't need a green screen to use the green screen function. It doesn't need to be green, and it doesn't need to be a screen. It just needs to be a solid color background. So I played around with a bunch of different backgrounds and figured out what works and what doesn't. And then that's actually a really fun aspect of WeVideo that separates it from the rest of the video editing software that I've used in particular. So I'm going to show you my main video now, and then I'm going to follow up with a little demonstration of how to actually use WeVideo. Thank you. And girls, I am going to do a quick overview on how to use WeVideo. I will build a new project for you using some of the media that you just saw in my demonstration video. So you click on blank edit, and you're going to start off with this as your screen, which brings you to the stock media portion. So you can really build something using their incredibly huge volume of anything you could think of. They also have different videos. If you wanted to filter it down to that, you could, or images or audio. But since you're making a personal project, you're going to be adding your own media. So obviously the first step would be to take your camera, your phone, or whatever, to go out and get your shots, your videos, whatever it is that you need to import. So you would click on My Media to do that and just hit import. Okay, you've already added it to your Google Drive. So you would just go to Google Drive and find your media. Okay, so I'll import an image and a video, and I'll show you what you can do with both of those. So here's an image, okay, and here's a video. And if you didn't know, you could click on Control and select more than one thing. So you hit select, and it brings it into your project. Okay, obviously the progress bar at the bottom tells you if it's still working. If it's still working, you can't drag it and drop. But that's all you do is you drag and you drop. And you're going to put it into video 2, the top layer. This is your main layer. You're going to do most of your work here unless you work with the green screen, and that is video track 1. So this you have to think of kind of as a background track, and then video 2 is your main track. Okay, so I've got my video, and I'm going to drop it in there, and you can kind of place it anywhere on the timeline, knowing that, of course, as you play your video, if you don't drag it right up against your picture, then you're going to have a gap. Okay, so here's my picture, here's the gap, and then here's my video. Okay, so you want to mind the gap. You don't want to have such a big gap, so you can drag it this way. And you see how WeVideo makes the green around the box? That means that it's cool. You're good to drop it there. But if you drag it too far, then it turns red, which means don't drop it there because it's going to overlap your picture. So you can have it in between if you wanted to put a transition or something. You might want to leave a little more of a gap. The transition will take up time, obviously, in your timeline when you're building a movie. Okay, so let's just drop it here. Okay, maybe you want to introduce a segment of your video by adding a title screen. So you would go up to text, and you would pick some kind of title screen. You've got ones that are in motion, which means your title bobs up and down. If you like that, there's different quotes and different styles. You can do static, which means it doesn't move. You can, and this is cool for end credits, you know, so if you do like director and producer and star and all that stuff. You have seasonal ones, and then you have call outs. So again, there's a bunch of different ones you could do. Whatever one you pick, you just drag and drop. So you drag and drop. And the other cool thing is you can see it's just too big for this little space. So you plop it down where you want it to go, and you have two options. You can either trim it to fit that little itty bitty space, which means your title slide would just be ever so brief. Or you can insert and push the clip to the side, which is very cool. So you don't have to do that manually. That could take a lot of time. So we're going to just insert and push. Okay, to edit any clip, you would just double click it, and then you're in edit mode. So obviously in a text slide, you don't have as many options as you would if you're editing an image. But here you would replace your text. So here is a video of Lodi. Okay, and you can change the color, you can change the size. Okay, if you look to the right, you can see that it's moving as I increase the size manually. You can change the spacing between the letters, which is cool. You can change the font itself. So let's go with Distant galaxy. All right, here's a video Rhodey. Let's make the background color of this purple. And let's change the font color to pink. It's a good pink color. I guess that. All right, there we are. Okay, so when you're done, you would just go to Save Changes. If you don't like what you did, then you would hit Cancel. But we're going to save the change. And you can see it here. If you wanted to move it, you would just drag and drop. Okay, you can make any clip longer by just dragging it here. You can also edit the length of clips up here. If you pull it from the right, it's going to make it shorter from the right, and if you pull it from the left, it'll make it shorter to the left, if that kind of makes sense. So either way, you'll see what works for you. So we've talked about editing text. Now, to edit an image, you would do the same thing. You would double click on the image, and then you have some different functions here. So you can flip a picture. Now Rudy's upside down. Let me move myself. Okay, we flip him right side up. We can turn him this way. We can rotate him. And this is kind of a cool function. You can fit it to the frame. Of course, he's now out of the frame, so it doesn't work for all of these. But you can see that there's black along the borders over here. In order to avoid that, you can use the blurred background function. So you would just turn this on, and now it's a little less boring. Okay, so again, if you like it, hit Save Changes. But let's go through some of the other things. Okay, the animation thing is really cool. So you see it's already highlighted on Start, and it's right in the middle. So I want it to start small, and I want it to end big. All right, let's save those changes. And let's take a look at this so far. Okay. There you are. Oh, see? Starts small, ends big. It's got the blurred background. Here's our text. And here comes our video. As promised. So you can see it imported my sound. And there we go. All right, so that's basically what you need to do. I have a separate video on how to work the green screen function. And spoiler alert, you don't need green and you don't need a screen. All right, super easy to do. It really adds a cool element to your videos. So play around with WeVideo. It's super duper easy, and have fun. Okay guys, so let's talk about the green screen function in WeVideo. I'm sure all of you are saying, I can't use it because I don't have a green screen. Newsflash, you don't need a green or a screen. You can use just a solid color background, and it doesn't have to be green, but I think they use green because green's not a very popular color, so thus we don't really wear it, and then we can contrast very well with green. So I was trying to come up with a substitute, and I was thinking, well, I don't have a screen, but I could put up a sheet. That's a good solid background. So I looked in my closet and I found a blue sheet. So I put it up last night and I tested it out. So I'm going to show you my trial and error and what you could think about doing. Okay, so here is my part of the video where I'm trying out the green screen. And here's the picture that I took with the blue sheet, okay, in the background. No, I don't iron my sheets, but normally they don't look that bad. Anyway, so let me show you how you test out the green screen function. So double click on your picture to get it into editing mode. And you have a bunch of different editing options here, but the one we're concerned about is this here, the color keying. Okay, so you're going to select the dropper, and then you're going to click on a color, and it should drop out for you. But of course it's not. So, okay, there, it just did it for me, but that didn't really work out very well. So you can only see a little bit of Rhodey. All right. If If we don't like that, you can hit delete. Okay, so again, you select the dropper and you select a color to drop out. Okay, again, he's pretty much gone. So let's try that again. We get the dropper, drop out the floor. And again, more of him stays, but still that's not good. So this is not a good picture. That is not a good substitute green screen. Okay, so the next one, I was outside and I thought, okay, first of all, there's a lot of light, which is good. Second of all, there's some pretty good contrast here. And definitely a different color background. Not a solid color, but kind of bland, close enough. So we go back, we double click on the picture. Okay, can't move my mouse. Okay, here we go. Dropper, backgrounds. Not very good. Kind of a cool effect, but won't look good because what you're doing when you're doing a green screen is like putting a picture behind that. And so obviously not much of Rhodey would show up. He would look very weird. So we're going to opt out of that, cancel out of that. Okay. So then the next picture is this one. Okay. Again, a lot of light, good contrast. Again, a fairly solid color. I was worried that the brown in the foreground would kind of blend with him. And it did prove to be a little bit of a downer, but I worked around it. This picture worked out pretty well. Okay, so let me show you here. Double click to edit. I'm in my dropper. Okay, remove the color. All right, it's automatically skipping ahead to my next picture, but that worked, right? I still had a lot of the foregrounds, but I could put something different in the sky. So let me back out of this, cancel, and show you, okay, there's the original photo, and then there's with the first background, and then I dumped another background into it, and then I dumped a third background into it. Okay, so not great, not terrible. I'd say it served its purpose. So I'm going to just show you in live time what I think is going to be the best. And incidentally, it is a green background. My front door is green, so I went with that. Okay, so pay attention to this process. This is going to show you how to bring media in. Okay, so you click on My Media, and you go to Import. You can find wherever it is you put your picture, whatever you're bringing in. You can bring in videos. You can bring in anything you can save to your Google Drive, which is pretty much everything. All right, so here we have the picture. Okay, and I just did the markup function on my phone to kind of color in the edges best I could, figuring it probably won't matter much. Okay, so here's your media collection, and you just select the picture that you want. You drag it in, and you're working in video 2 again, but video 1 is the layer that you need for the green screen function, right? Okay, because again, your main picture and then the background behind it. I should go like that because that's what a background looks like in this setting. Okay, so here's the picture. Okay, so we're gonna double click to edit it. Whoa. All right, let's go up here. Double click to edit. Here we are. Select the green. And we have a great picture of Rhodey, and I caught him with his tongue out, so that's adorable. So we're going to save the changes. And now we have this cool picture to do something to the background to. So I'm going to just copy the picture. Copy. All right, you got to move the playhead out of the way. You need room to paste. So paste. Oh, I'm going to move the playhead over here. All right. Paste. And paste again. All right, so you can do different backgrounds with it. So to find backgrounds, to do backgrounds, okay, you've got your picture, and you're in, where are you? Go. So you've got solid color backgrounds. You can put something behind him that looks like that, but that would look kind of goofy. Green we just removed. Why would we want to do that? We've got solid colors. You have overlays. You have frames. Stock media is great. There's, you name it, they've got it. Tree house. Let's put them in a tree house. Oh, okay, no tree houses. How about a tree? Let's put a tree behind it. Step up that silly tree. So you like it? Okay, so you drag it in and drop it, and now, oh, I dropped behind the wrong picture. Why is that picture here? All right, there we go. That's kind of goofy, but you can come up with something better. Anything you want. So, as I said, you don't need green and you don't need a screen. It worked well for me, just incidentally, because my door is green, but it could be anything. White wouldn't work very well. So, again, a contrasty color. So maybe if you order anything from Amazon, you can order like a green sheet in the background and play around with it. Otherwise, think out of the box. What do you have at home? Like, what kind of backgrounds do you have? What kind of walls? Maybe you have a solid color wall that you could use. So again, just because you don't have a green screen doesn't mean you can't